Welcome to One Chapter, One Thought. I'm Pastor Chris from Lincroft Bible Church in New Jersey, and every weekday I read one chapter of the New Testament and offer one brief devotional thought. Today's reading is from the book of Revelation, chapter 8. When the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. Then I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and the 7 trumpets were given to them. And another angel came and stood at the altar with a golden censer, and he was given much incense to offer with the prayers of all the saints on the golden altar before the throne. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints rose before God from the hand of the angel. Then the angel took the censer and filled it with fire from the altar and threw it on the earth, and there were peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. Now the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to blow them. The first angel blew his trumpet, and there followed hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown upon the earth. And a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up. The second angel blew his trumpet, and something like a great mountain, burning with fire, was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood. A third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. The third angel blew his trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, blazing like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters became wormwood, and many people died from the water, because it had been made bitter. The fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of their light might be darkened, and a third of the day might be kept from shining, and likewise a third of the night. And then I looked, and I heard an eagle crying with a loud voice as it flew directly overhead, "Woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth, at the blasts of the other trumpets that the 3 angels are about to blow." One thought. How long, O Lord? How long will this world be broken? How long will we be broken? How long will evil have its sway? These are the cries of our heart that echo the cries of the psalmists that get their answer here in Revelation chapter 8. This chapter opens with another cycle of 7s. The whole book, in fact, can be broken down into 7 cycles of 7. There were letters to the 7 churches, and then there were 7 seals that were open, and now we begin a long section of 7 trumpets being blown, heralding God's judgment. In this chapter, when each trumpet is blown, judgment comes upon the earth. And what's significant about this is that all of these judgments are styled after God's affliction of the Egyptians at the Exodus. So I think what John is doing here is referring back to that passage and saying that there's a new exodus coming for God's people, when God will bring them out of bondage to sin and bring them into his new creation. But with the salvation of God's people comes the judgment upon the wicked and those that oppose God's people. And these horrific images, I don't think that they're really supposed to be taken literally, but they are to be taken seriously. They are apocalyptic images of God's judgment. It gives us this horrific scene of the earth being laid waste, and they're really meant to sober us. They're meant to warn the world of God's coming judgment. And if you think that God is overreacting, as I've heard one theologian say, if you feel like God is overreacting in this passage, then your view of God is too small. He is the infinitely glorious one, and he is the one who deserves to be worshipped. And these images of devastation are meant to show us how great God is, that he is worthy of worship, and yet he is very patient. He's very patient, but his patience won't last forever. And so we must turn to Christ now, and as God's people, point others to Christ now, so that they can be sealed, claimed by God, and be spared his fierce wrath.